back to the Yankee and the Brit. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. Today we're going to talk some quarterback craziness.
Yeah, some absolute insanity just kicking off in the NFL straight away in the past 2 days. It's awesome. We thought last year we'd seen a lot of quarterbacks moving around. And we thought the year before we'd seen a lot of quarterbacks moving around. But this year we're seeing even more quarterbacks moving around. This is great.
Yeah, and we'll touch on a bunch of them, but you got Derek Carr's new contract, Danny Dimes getting paid, Aaron Rodgers meeting with the Jets. Lamar Jackson only got the non-exclusive tag, so he's probably on his way out. Rookie quarterbacks, Tom Brady rumors, Phillip River rumors. I'm probably missing something.
that's all I've got right now, I think. But we've probably missed something. The craziness of the combine with quarterbacks is going pretty mental, which is something that we're going to be talking about later on as well, which is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just want to start with Aaron Rodgers. Let's get that out the way because I have two theories about what's going on. And I think we can have some conversation about it, but I think it's down to the Jets are he's going to retire. So at first, when I heard the rumor that the Jets talked to him yesterday, now they're on a plane to fly down to Malibu and talk to him. Either they're hashing out the contract, which the restructure, which is absolutely what I thought at first. But then, what if they're actually trying to talk him into not retiring?
Yeah, I
Like the
mean,
Vikings did with Favre back in the day. They flew down and talked him into not retiring.
yeah, the thing with this is that the Packers have to have given the Jets permission for this to be happening. So it's one, either this is some fake news and it's just got out there and we don't know how real this news is. I haven't seen it reported by Rap Sheet or anything, but that doesn't mean that it's not been. I just haven't caught it. That the Jets are actually talking with Aaron Rodgers.
No, it's official. I was watching McAfee. They're on there. They already talked to him, and now they're flying to Malibu.
Right. Okay. Cool. And yeah, so that means the Packers must have given him permission.
Yeah,
to
that
speak
was
to the
reported
Jets
this morning.
Yeah, because they because otherwise it would be tampering, right? And that's why Miami don't have a first round pick this year.
Yeah, and people were like, they tampered with talking with him. No, they got approval. We found out this morning. Yeah. It just wasn't reported yet.
Yeah, exactly. Which is again interesting because that wasn't reported on. It means there's not a lot of leaks in that room actually, because if that kind of thing got broke out, that would have been on there for ages.
Florio's been talking shit for 6 months now. How all of Aaron Rodgers people are leaking. Shit. Rodgers like, it ain't my camp. None of this is true. So this kind of proves that somebody on the outside is leaking shit that's not part of not part of Rodgers' camp. And even if it is the Packers, they're not privy to what's going on Rodgers' side of it. You know what I mean?
It's not even necessarily that it's the Packers doing it either, because if it was the Packers that were leaking, then we would have heard about them letting them speak to the Jets as well. And the Packers have been making the right noises for Jordan Love to be taken over. It just sounds like they didn't want to get bent over a barrel by Aaron Rodgers like they did with Brett Favre again and get kept taking on, getting held hostage and things like that. So I think it's...
I have to push back. At no point do I feel like he held them hostage.
Yeah.
And I actually think the Packers look horrible over the last few years in this whole thing.
I agree with you. And then I definitely agree with you. I just think they're wary of that possibility of being held hostage, which is what it would have become if they didn't get a decision by, next Monday, where they can actually start talking to people and things like that.
You and I have always argued more than one thing can be true.
Yeah.
This can be great for Rodgers, and it could be exactly what the Packers want, all in one swoop.
Yeah, definitely. And the Packers have been making the right kind of noises for Rodgers moving. Now with the Derek Carr trade, it means everybody's there for the Jets. Chris Sims says he's had 5 Jets fans speaking to him, or like people in the Jets and in the know with the Jets, who said, "Oh, we're quite disappointed that we didn't get Derek Carr because we don't know what that means for Aaron Rodgers." And it's like, well, hang on. If you get Aaron Rodgers for 2 years, you've still got an incredibly young roster. Like, you guys are still incredibly young. You then replace Aaron Rodgers when he comes back around, whereas the Packers need that full rebuild. They need to see what they've got in Jordan Love in that QB contract.
And now, if you trade or if you draft a quarterback with Aaron Rodgers on your team, if you're the Jets, say you're not sold on Zach Wilson, you want to go in a different direction. Aaron says he's coming back for 2 years. There's no hard feelings. Aaron gets it now. He didn't like the way the whole Jordan Love thing. And I will still argue to this day, if Jordan Love would have fell to them and they would have took him, it would have pissed Rodgers off less than the fact that they moved up.
Yeah, it's moving up. It takes away a player that they could have had a wide receiver for that extra pick that they've had to give up to move up, which is pretty crazy. They could have given Rodgers something else, and they've not really given Rodgers anything for a while. But Aaron Rodgers has been talked to death in the media. The ball's totally in his court. Like, we have no idea what he's really going to do. Like, we know he's not going to go to the Raiders. Wouldn't be a great fit out there anyway. The only option seems to be the Jets, or he can make the Packers keep him. He could feel really vindictive and really want that $60 million that they owe him, and he can make the Packers keep him, which again, like, not necessarily the worst for the Packers either.
But he made it perfectly clear he was willing to stay with the Packers if they were willing to shoot for a championship and not do some type of rebuild, bring back guys like Lazard and those. And all the Packers had to do to kind of chase him off is like, Aaron, we love you. You can come back, but we're going young.
Yeah, they're going for, and that's what they should do. Like, that's the thing. That's what the Packers really should be doing. They should maybe move towards going young. In my opinion, now that's what they should be doing.
Okay, I get that people say that. I'm in the firm belief that Super Bowls are so hard to come by. When you have a team that even looks like they have a little bit of a shot at one, you just go all the fuck in and worry about it later.
Yeah, I think that's where me and you, that's where I don't think the Packers are anywhere near. I think they're quite a few pieces away. When you've got Aaron Rodgers, you have a shot. You can put Aaron Rodgers on most teams and they'd have a shot to win. So if you keep Aaron Rodgers, you get a shot to win. Like, that's fine. But I think there's big holes in the Packers that need to be kind of sorted out and filled before they continue.
The offense looked good at the end of the year. If Rodgers would have showed up to training camp, I think it's a whole different offense. So it's a defensive rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Or to the mini camps, I should say. He did show up to training camp, but to the mini camps. But it was a receiver issue. Like, Rodgers has never been the superly supported player on a team with a bunch of other stars. So, and anytime you can get anywhere near an NFC championship game, which they did how many years in a row before last year, yeah, you got a shot at winning it. I just say, if I'm the Packers and Rodgers really wanted to come back, I'm freeing up the cap space. I'm selling out and going to get you OBJ or somebody. Maybe it doesn't work. I'm getting a couple defensive guys that can help us out. I'm taking one more run at it. But if you're like, fuck it, we got to rebuild, then you go young.
Maybe they love what they've got in Jordan Love. Maybe they really, really like Jordan Love. Maybe he's taken crazy amounts of steps and is now better than Aaron Rodgers.
I like Jordan Love coming out of college. I was a proponent of Jordan Love coming out of college. So I think there might be something there with Jordan Love, but
I was joking when I said he was going to come out and be better than Aaron Rodgers, by the way, to anybody who's out there listening. Before we take that as a YouTube short, like, just so you can take it, but then make sure we lead them back to this moment.
So let's talk some Danny Dimes getting fucking paid. Danny got paid. Get your money, Danny Dimes. 4 years, $60 million. That's $40 million a year, which means Saquon's probably got the franchise tag already because we just passed the deadline.
Yeah, they're going to tag Saquon Barkley, surely. Hey, man, Dak's contract doesn't look too bad when you put Danny Dimes next to it. That's all I'm going to say.
Except that he wants a new contract.
Yeah, well, that'll be difficult, won't it? Well, we've got too many quarterbacks for me bringing in Dak into the conversation. Yeah, Danny Dimes' contract is pretty outrageous in my estimation of it. And I'm a Danny Dimes fan. Like, I'd like Danny Dimes. I'm not sure that I like him for 40 million when Derek Carr is 37.5. And it's $160 million across 4 years with $35 million in add-on incentives if he proves his worth for that, which is a lot. What they do manage to do is keep hold of the tag, which means they can tag Saquon Barkley, which is an okay move. It probably means you're going to have to get rid of Saquon Barkley next year, to be perfectly honest, with the way that goes. I'm surprised they didn't tag Jones, and then as difficult as it would have been to get rid of Barkley, then get rid of Barkley. Or if you've got this amount of money to pay Jones, then pay Barkley. But, and then draft Bijan Robinson to replace Barkley is what I would have done.
Go get your money, Danny Dimes. You never had more leverage than 100%. You have right now. He's not worth the money.
Nope.
I know. He's barely an average thrower at best.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only guy I've watched in his career 3 times trip over the 20-yard line.
Yeah. It's process again. It's not necessarily the wrong decision. It's not necessarily the wrong decision. What they've basically done here is made Danny Dimes their franchise quarterback. And it's not necessarily the wrong thing that they've done. Not necessarily. However, it's a terrible process because Danny Dimes has had one good season and is now worth more than Derek Carr, who has had several good seasons in even shittier situations than Danny Dimes had with the Giants. Maybe not shittier rosters, but Raiders.
Maybe
with Gruden.
Maybe Giants should have just signed his 5th-year option and paid him the $22 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. It's all like, and now you kind of, they fucked it. Basically, I'm happy that the Giants fucked it. Yeah,
that $22 million is only guaranteed for injury.
Yeah.
So you can still move on from him with like a $9 million hit or some shit. They should have just 5th-year option. I mean, when it's a quarterback and you're unsure, just 5th-year because it's way cheaper than the tag or what you're going to have to pay them in the long run gives you an extra year to figure shit out.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones had proved enough to be worth taking a shot. On the 4th round, right? On the 5th round, the 5th year, sorry. He'd proved to be enough to be taking a shot on the 5th round. 5th year option, honestly, right? He was 5th overall in the 1st round, and we're talking about his 5th year option right now. But he had been proven enough to take a shot on 100%, especially with a new coach coming in. What do the Giants really have? The Giants had an impressive season this year. Nobody thought they were going to be there. Their roster is not that good to be there. It's not. But they were clearly worth taking a shot with the new coach, with everything, just to see what was going on. And now you have to shell out this amount of money. And the other thing about this is it's only 4 years. So he can come back. He comes back to the table pretty soon with the new TV money and everything like that. So if he continues to play well and plays that, you almost want him to play well enough to earn that kind of money. What you don't want is the situation that the Cowboys have with Dak, where it's like, oh shit, they're kind of good enough that they really should be taking us to a Super Bowl with a decent enough team. And they're not bad enough to get rid of. They're not good enough to really make that leap, but they're not bad enough where you can find easy replacements for them. That's where Dak is. That's where Kirk Cousins is. That's where Danny Dimes might end up in this next 4 years. So you're going to have to pay him again in 4 years' time.
Please do not put a guy like Kirk Cousins in the same sentence with that turnover machine you guys got in Dallas.
All right. I'm not arguing Dak today. Derek Carr then.
Derek Carr got paid. Derek Carr took the bag because Derek Carr went to a bad situation. But essentially what Derek Carr got is $70 million in the first 2 years.
Hmm.
and it's essentially a 3-year contract worth $100 million that he's pretty much going to get, unless they take a huge cap hit in year 3 to move on from him.
Yeah, this is a really good contract for the Saints as well. If you look at it in actuality, because the
Well, they're
level
stuck
of
with him for 3 years unless they want to take a huge cap hit.
yeah, but the level of quarterback that they're upgrading to from Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton to Derek Carr in the cap situation that they're in is pretty immense. Like the fact that they're able to pull that off in their current cap situation where they're miles over the cap. They're finding it really difficult to bring it down. Also, Derek Carr goes there. It's not an amazing situation, but I'd argue for Derek Carr, it's a better situation than going to the Jets. For not in terms of like actual rosters or anything like that, but actually him as a person, this is a much better move for him. Derek Carr as a New York Jet would be eaten the fuck alive, like in New
So,
York. They'd kill him.
so Derek Carr in New Orleans just seems like a clash of personalities to me.
You reckon?
Mardi Gras,
Yeah,
naked women, drinking,
yeah,
partying, Derek
yeah.
Carr.
It's how much of it's how much of the players actually in the fucking city though. Like not really. Like Drew Brees
Well,
made all of his money in New
winning was
Orleans.
not important to Derek Carr. The money was more important.
Yeah, I mean, like 37.5 million. Like he's getting paid less than Danny Dimes. Like I
And the
think
whole
he's
3-year contract works out to 33 million a
yeah.
year.
Yeah,
It's a
so
4-year contract, but essentially it's a 3-year contract.
yeah, if you take like signing bonuses and fully guarantees and everything, then it's 37.5, right? He's got a Voyager in 2027 that they
Right,
can use. So then it goes
they're
over the
not
thing.
they're not going to keep him on that 4th year either way. So if you break
Mhm.
it down, knock the 4th year out, take the 70 million in the first year, the 30 for the 3rd year, it essentially is 3-year $100 million contract.
Oh right, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, I get you. But
That's
it's a
he's
good
pretty much guaranteed 100 million off this deal.
yeah, I think you look at it and you go like, actually, how bad is Derek Carr going to be over the next 3 years? Like, even at his worst last year, he's still better than Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton, and he's going back to Dennis Allen, who was the head coach of the Raiders when he was drafted. And yeah, Derek Carr managed to get $20 million more guaranteed money by not letting the Raiders trade him to the Saints earlier on. So like they could have so the Saints are the only team that offered draft picks to the Raiders. And Derek Carr has a no trade clause. So he waived it, said, no, I'm not going to the Saints. And then by not going to the Saints, then he gets $20 million more in guarantees by going now, which is pretty impressive. Pretty good work from Derek Carr as well.
That's why I said he wasn't worried about winning, because if he
Yeah.
was, he would have waited to see what happened with the Jets,
Mhm.
because they told him, we love you. We're in on Rodgers. If not Rodgers, then it's you. He wasn't willing to wait. He wanted that bag. So go get paid. I don't got a problem with him, but getting paid. I'm just saying he chose money over winning, which I'm never mad at a guy for choosing money.
Yeah, I mean, there's some weapons in New Orleans as well. Like, there's, yeah, well, like to be fair to the Raiders, like they fucked him pretty hard, didn't they? I'd be quite spiteful and want to give a big like 2 fingers up as I walk through the door if that was how I got treated by the Raiders at the end. But the the Saints get a massive upgrade. There's talent in New Orleans. They're in cap hell for the next 3 years. We'll see how they able to dice around that. So yeah.
I think Derek Carr's only attribute is his leadership.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that what the fuck happened to them last year, like the year before last, John Gruden got found out. One of his wide receivers got in a car crash and killed somebody and
You
went to
can't
jail.
ever overlook that in his 9
Yeah.
seasons in the NFL, he's only went to the playoffs once.
Yeah, that's I get you. It is for the Raiders though.
Even if
which are
it's
the
not
most-
his own, it's all on him.
Yeah.
the quarterback always has to own that. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback always has to own that record. Nobody ever says that running back has 7 playoff wins or that receiver has 7 playoff wins. But the quarterback, they're like, hey, he's never won in the playoffs.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be going in with Jared Stidham into the season. So, we'll see how good Derek Carr was with Diddy.
We'll get to that in a second when we get to the rookie quarterbacks. But so it looks like Lamar's probably on his way out of the Ravens because Baltimore decided to go with the non-exclusive tag at $32 million instead of the exclusive tag at $45, which means if you can work a deal with Lamar and get him to sign an offer sheet that the Ravens won't match, you give up 2 first-round picks and he's yours. So I think all you have to do is give him a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, so the offer sheet that you're giving up is basically the Deshaun Watson.
I wouldn't touch Richardson because he can't throw,
me neither.
But that's just me. Yeah. I like quarterbacks who can throw.
We'll get to him. You're going to tear me apart about Justin Fields when we talk about Anthony Richardson.
Jackson to the Raiders isn't the worst idea.
That's the better one.
But he's going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Arthur Blank has that Home Depot money. They have a huge salary, or they have huge cap room, and he has made it perfectly clear at 82 years old he wants to win right now.
Yeah, and if you look
go ahead.
Sorry, if you look at the Falcons roster, then you have Pitts, who's a great tight end to throw to. Should be a great tight end. We're still holding out.
And you have the extra draft capital from the Ridley trade.
Yeah, you have Drake London as well in terms of ex-receiver, absolutely massive dude. I saw somebody put up a trade, and it's just don't talk about trades and stuff if you don't actually know anything about it. But he said, all the Falcons need to do is just say 2 first-rounders and Drake London, and it's no, they don't. He's about to get non-exclusive tag. Just watch it happen, and then they only need to give up 2 first-rounders. 2 first-rounders for Lamar Jackson is an absolute bargain. Let's just get that right out there. The only problem is when you come to the contract.
Yeah, if you can afford to pay him that contract, right? That fully guaranteed, or even if it's not fully guaranteed, you're going to have $200 million of it guaranteed in that contract, however you write it up or more.
Yeah, so, he's asking for Deshaun Watson money in terms of guarantees, right? That's where he's
just
$230 million. Yeah,
he's an MVP with no off the field shit. He proved more than Deshaun has proved without off the. And you guys can go. Everybody can be mad at Lamar, but be mad at Jimmy Haslam. He set the precedent by letting them sign that deal with Deshaun Watson. And I'm not mad at Lamar for I got more leverage now than I'll ever have. I'm going to get paid with real wealth that sets my future family up too. Not everybody's well, he's rich. Because I like to tell people, go tell your boss you'll take less money for the good of the company. Oh, it's different. They get millions of dollars. No, don't go counting other people's money. They're working for something different than you. They're looking for generational wealth. The rest of us are looking at it differently.
Yeah, 100%. And it's your own businesses. The private sector does differently to the public sector. That's just the way that things work.
No matter who you are, you want to maximize every dollar you can get.
Yeah. And the only off the field issue for Lamar Jackson is the amount of times he spends off the field. But I do wonder what that is in regards to.
I wiped last year out.
Money. Yeah, if he had his money, would he have spent as much time off the field last year? I don't think so. And you can find a system to say to him, look, man, we're giving you all of this guaranteed money. Please, can you just throw from the pocket just a little more? Because he can do it. It's not like mobile quarterbacks who let's say if we took away Justin Fields' running game in the next season for the Bears, then he would become redundant and pointless. There's no need for him.
If he gets the right coach. And I disagree with Chris Sims, but this will tell you that where other people look at Lamar's passing. He said Lamar is a better passer than Jalen Hurts. I disagree, but that's saying something because I think Jalen Hurts throws that fucking ball. I think Jalen Hurts throws the ball around. So Lamar can pass. Let's not act like he can't throw. Yeah. I wouldn't want him I think Kevin O'Connell would be a guy like him would be great for Lamar. I just don't want to pay him.
Yeah. And I think you look at those like the passing analysis of Lamar Jackson as well. And who's Lamar Jackson's best wide receiver since he's been in the league? His best receiver is Mark Andrews, and he's a tight end. And Mark Andrews is an all-time great tight end because Patrick Mahomes' best wide receiver is Travis Kelce, who's also a tight end. So that's not necessarily saying anything bad about Mark Andrews or the tight end position. But is it Hollywood Brown? Marquise Brown? Like, is that his best wide receiver since he's been in the league?
Might be.
It's got to be, right? Whereas Jalen Hurts, and this isn't saying that Jalen Hurts like doesn't throw a better ball than Lamar Jackson. I think it would be interesting to go back and really put the tape side by side. But Jalen Hurts this season had AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Both of them would probably be the best wide receivers that Lamar Jackson's ever played with. That Jalen Hurts shouldn't be punished for that because he throws the ball up there to go for those two to go get it. So I think it would be interesting having a look side by side. Drake London has the potential to be Lamar Jackson's best ever wide receiver. Plus, they have even more cap room to get other guys that are out there in Atlanta. And are you telling me that Atlanta, the city, is a draw for free agents anyway? If you put Lamar Jackson in there, that becomes like a free agent draw. Like
if Lamar wants,
Atlanta.
if Lamar wants the easiest path to the playoffs too, it's Panthers, Falcons. That like so
he becomes the best quarterback in his division. Yeah, he moves away from Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Kenny Pickett, but mainly Burrow. So he moves away from Burrow, and his next best quarterback competition is Sam Darnold. Oh, well, it becomes Derek Carr. Derek Carr, yeah, becomes Derek Carr, right? Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, Lamar Jackson and Derek Carr come together.
All right. Well, I think he's out of there. I think somebody's going to sign him to a big contract that the Ravens won't match.
I actually think there's a lot in that for the Ravens as well. I think it's interesting. Do you think that the Ravens have kind of gone, look, we're a great organization who were on the cusp of the playoffs. Like, it didn't really fall apart when we had Tyler Huntley. It didn't really fall apart when we had Tyler Huntley there. It was when Tyler Huntley got injured that we were really screwed. And even who was their third guy? Brown?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. But anyway, he looked good enough as well. So you've got to think if they come into the quarterback, if they come into the quarterback market, they'll be able to get something going as well. Maybe they'd be more of a team for me that would take Anthony Richardson, for example. Well, they would be it would fit that mold. I'm not saying
somebody's
going to
do it, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But
shall we move on to rookie QBs?
Well, quick before we get there, 2 rumors that Rich Eisen reported on. Brady might be interested in Miami, and teams Phillip Rivers contacted teams to come back. Phillip Rivers says it isn't true, but if Rich Eisen said it, somebody told Rich Eisen that happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't know about that, but it would be interesting to see if Brady, a year after the Dolphins lose a pick for tampering with him, does end up in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Rivers looked like he was done in the league when he left the league 2-3 years ago. Like, it looked like his arm had fallen off. So I can't see it being much better now unless he's gone and got some sort of crazy surgery, or he's taken one of his children's arms. Maybe he's breeding up all of his children to like a limbs factory kind of thing. That's why he's got so many.
Maybe he needs to come back because he has 13 kids in his
maybe that's it. That's the one. The Brady thing, I could totally see it. It's interesting though. Is it only Miami? Is it he's only interested in Miami?
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's the only option, which is like crazy to me. I wonder why it's just Miami. Does he just really fancy Miami? Does he want to play against New England again? Like,
he has a house in Miami, and he liked it in Florida, and I think that has a lot to do with it. That's where I live now, pretty much, is Miami. So if you want me to play, you got a pretty good team. You got great receivers. You got a decent offensive line, a good running back. Bring me in, coach.
Questionable quarterback position, I think, works pretty well for him as well, right? Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to come back. I'm not sure whether Miami roll the dice on that. I mean, you would. If Tom Brady's saying I'm coming back to you, then you roll the dice.
When you've got that sold on Tua, never. The owner has never been sold on Tua. And to his concussion history, maybe you're just like,
Tua sit a year. Tua sit 1 year behind Tom Brady and sort your concussions out. And then watch how Tom Brady does exactly what you do. Like Tom Brady and Tua, although left-handed and Tua's much smaller and Tua's nowhere near as good as Tom Brady. That's not what I'm saying. Tua and on, don't take that and go crazy with it. But Tua sitting behind Tom Brady would be great for his career development. You've got to imagine that. Plus, you'd be paying Tua a lot less with his contract years are coming up soon, right? That whole class, his contract years is coming up soon. That Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. So you'll be paying him a lot less if you sit him for an entire year behind Tom Brady. But yeah, that it's a move that makes sense for Tom Brady. The O-line's decent. The weapons are incredible. The defense is decent. Like there's a lot that they've got going on there. Plus it's in Miami, and he could probably convince Giselle to move everything down there so his kids can go to school there and they can have an easier life kind of coexisting in the same city, I guess, so that his family can be together in the same city maybe. Would be another reason to look at it too.
So let's talk some rookie quarterbacks.
Okay.
There's a lot of crazy talk right now, and I really hope it's crazy talk. Well, I guess I don't care for the kid or the teams up there, but people are now slating fucking Anthony Richardson at number 1. You're drafting a guy that went 7 games in college without throwing a touchdown last year. 7 games in a row without throwing a touchdown. He does not throw from the pocket. He's a super athlete. But like, oh my gosh, you guys, is this really what they're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, when you take Anthony Richardson, you have the best athlete on the field, like straight away. Is that the guy that you want playing QB? Sometimes
he's got to sit 2 years.
Yeah. So Joe Klatt has compared him to a Rubik's Cube, where like all the pieces are there to make this crazy quarterback, right? I agree. you have this Rubik's Cube. It's how far is the Rubik's Cube from solving, and how good a coaching staff do you have to solve that Rubik's Cube? Now, I saw a mock draft where he went up 4 to the Colts, which is insane to me. That is a team that 100% should not be in the Richardson race whatsoever, because they need a guy to start right away. Like or they need a guy to actually throw the ball. You're right. Like he's not a great thrower of the ball. Like just look at it.
Maybe you can develop him. He is boom or bust, but I think like you got a better shot at a bust than a boom.
Yeah, I think he's worth a first round pick if you have the right situation for him to go to. Like one perfect situation, you don't need him to start for a year, 2 years, and he turns up and puts instant pressure on your starting QB, who's not a guy you'll necessarily start. Somewhere like the Rams, for example, where you have Matthew Stafford. Now they don't have a first round pick, so not the most helpful. But somewhere like the Rams, where chances are he's going to get some play time this year, but it's not going to be in the most important situations because you've got Matthew Stafford there. But a team like the Colts, where you need a guy to start straight away, not great. Or other option you have is a team that is athlete, that can make an athletic quarterback-based offense. So a team like the Ravens, for example, would be an okay fit if Lamar Jackson goes, because you've still got Huntley as an insurance policy who can actually run your offense. And if Richardson comes in and just takes off and just goes absolutely insane as an athlete, well, okay. Like, you don't necessarily need to throw the ball to win a lot of regular season games. It's not going to take you very far in the playoffs, though. But I don't see it myself. I think he's a Rubik's Cube that is a long way away from solving.
So, and you and I have been talking about this. I've been watching a lot of these college quarterbacks. And personally, if you made me rank them, I think the best quarterbacks in this draft are Bryce Young, Hayden Hooker, CJ Stroud are the top 3. And I think CJ Stroud will go over Hayden Hooker because of the ACL. but I think Hayden Hooker's one of the best quarterbacks in this fucking draft. But there's going to be 4 quarterbacks taken in the top 10, and Anthony Richardson's going to be one of them.
Yeah, maybe. And Hayden Hooker, like the thing is that Hayden Hooker probably won't be one of them.
No, he's going to get picked up at 23.
Is that what the Vikings are picking by any chance? Yep.
We have the 24th overall pick, but we picked 23 thanks to the Miami getting their draft pick taken away.
That'd be nice, actually. That'd be a nice pickup for you guys. Like,
watch him. And I know they're going to say the scheme leaves those guys wide open. It does at times. But Hayden Hooker also throws guys open if you go watch and he is so athletic, but he does not run unless he has to.
Yeah, and the scheme has people wide open, but remember he's playing for fucking Tennessee. Like Bryce Young's scheme is Alabama and CJ Stroud's is Ohio. Like let's put that into perspective. Will Levis will give him the pass because Kentucky were not good,
and he was so injured this last year. He played with like 22 injuries, man. Mm-hmm. He Brett Favre without the welfare fraud, allegedly.
You'll get sued. We'll have a defamation claim now. Like
I hope.
Great.
Thanks. Fucking hope Brett Favre sues us. Do you know how quick the channel will grow and he'll lose?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean Hayden Hooker fits into any locker room pretty seamlessly, especially in a leadership role. Like 25 years old. Thanks to was it a COVID extension that guys were able to have? Was it 1 year, 2 years?
Yeah, and he transferred too. He transferred. Yes. You had to sit a year back then to transfer. But and I know people are like, well, Stetson Bennett's 25, and people, dude, that's a whole different level of quarterback. So let's not even compare a 25-year-old Stetson Bennett to Hayden Hooker.
Yeah. Stetson Bennett is a great pickup in the 6th, 7th round. An amazing pickup.
And he could be your backup for he could be your backup for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, who's Mr. Irrelevant? Also, Stetson Bennett can't be that great of a leader. Didn't the dude get arrested like pretty much straight away, like after the national championship game? He got absolutely annihilated.
Just because you do some dumb shit doesn't mean you're not a leader. You're a young guy. You get it. People do dumb shit.
Yeah, I get it. I know what you mean.
Drink a little too much and you know.
it wasn't that bad. But yeah, I mean,
so, Maddie, before you give us your top ones, but then afterwards, give us like where you think they're going to go, because I think the first, and I'm not which teams, but like I think I still think Bryce Young's the first quarterback off the board. I think it's CJ Stroud is number 2, and I would go Will Levis, but I wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Richardson creeps into 3. But I think all 4 of those guys are by pick 9.
Yeah, my top 3 is Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and then Hayden Hooker in that order. I think watching CJ Stroud's throwing at the combine was pretty fucking unbelievable, and that game against Georgia was unreal.
That's what got me. I've always said too, like, I don't know what to think. I shit on on Ohio State quarterbacks, but I said CJ Stroud might be different. Like I said, but it's so hard to tell because everybody's so fucking wide open for Ohio State, and he never runs around or extends the play. And then you watch Georgia, and you're like, "What the fuck is this? He's completely different quarterback." Like I was impressed. I like CJ Stroud. I still think if Hayden Hooker wasn't injured, he'd be above him, but I got no problem with somebody putting CJ Stroud above Hayden Hooker either.
Yeah, I think CJ Stroud shows the kind of qualities that I saw in Jalen Hurts coming out as well. That winning mentality, that leadership mentality, that want to get better, that kind of drive that you really need in these starting QBs. I really like CJ Stroud. I think he's going to go to the Texans at 2. I think the Texans are the ones that'll stay still. Bryce Young will go number 1 overall. Teams will get blinded by combine stats, which is ridiculous for a quarterback, and take Anthony Richardson 3rd quarterback overall. And then 4th Levis, and then Hayden Hooker will come like 2nd round, I reckon.
I personally think if the Colts have the chance, they stay put, they'd rather have Will Levis than Richardson. Who's going to move? Okay, so the Colts pretty much made it sound like they're not moving up, unless that's just bullshit
That's
talk.
bullshit. It's bullshit.
I don't know,
Like,
man. That is not how Ballard runs as a GM. So unless he's forced to by the owner, Jim Irsay, I think he'd rather sit there, and he's made it pretty clear. And it's been perfectly clear that the Bears want more than 3 first-round picks to even get up there. Are you willing to for that? How much more do you love Bryce Young? Is Bryce Young the guy you think is the best quarterback? Do you think Will Levis is the best quarterback? Then why the fuck would you trade up to get him? If I'm the Texans, I'm not fucking moving. You're not raping me. I really like Bryce Young, but I'm not selling the farm for Bryce Young. And I'm not guaranteed that, say, the Panthers move up. What if they like CJ Stroud better? I still get Bryce Young at number 2, or I get CJ Stroud. Like, I don't think if I'm the Texans, I'm moving up either. So I think the Bears almost are going to end up dropping back 7, 9, something like that.
If I'm the Texans, I'm 100% staying put at 2. And then everybody else, I think, can move around as much as they want. I personally think the Colts have the most to gain by moving up to 1.
And what if the Colts have the most salary cap besides the Bears? What if they sign Lamar?
Yeah, I mean, doable, but I think Lamar's going to my destinations for Lamar that I've got down are Atlanta number 1, sailing away number 1, and then Jets if they don't get Rodgers, then Commanders and Lions. Are the
Doesn't it really boil down to he who gives me the biggest bag wins?
Yeah, for Lamar. Do you know what? I'm not even 100% sure. It's the one who gives him the most guaranteed money, probably. Yeah, but
so if you're the Colts and you're like Lamar, 5 years, 250.
Yeah, it's just the Colts since Andrew Luck left. The Colts have been dealing in veteran quarterbacks, but the times they've been successful are drafting Peyton Manning and drafting Andrew Luck.
This is a different.
I know it's Lamar Jackson. I know it's
because
different.
It's not like old Matt Ryan or old Phillip Rivers. This is Lamar Jackson. But yeah, I just don't know if the Bears are going to get what they think they can get for that first round pick. The more I think about it, because unless you're super sold on one guy, which I would argue would be Bryce Young, but then you're also as a team got to go, I don't think this way, but other teams do. Well, his body size, he's small, he's this. And I've actually heard somebody say the other day, and I have to say this, they were like, he can't see over the offensive line. Bro, if your offensive linemen are standing straight up in a pass play, you're fucked anyway. They're crouched down like this. If they're standing straight up, you're in trouble anyway at that point.
Yeah, and I mean that it's not like they get a lot smaller in college. You know,
that's true. And he played at Alabama, which has
Alabama
linemen. Yes.
Like it's not like they're any smaller in college.
They're
the same body type. They just don't know how to use it in college a lot of the time.
And people keep acting like he's a running quarterback, and I'm like, this kid they're protected in the pocket. He is a pocket quarterback who can run. He is not a running quarterback who can throw. He is a pocket quarterback who, when the play breaks down, he'll run. And I'm not saying he's as great, but he is more Patrick Mahomes than he is Lamar or Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I mean,
and I just mean pocket presence, move out, then plays, then run.
Yeah, he's Drew Brees. That's his comparison, right? It's got to be
better runner, but yeah,
like a little bit. Like I think Drew Brees might have been a bit underrated in the run game. Like, did have a pretty massive injury, but yeah, definitely a better athlete than Drew Brees as well. You also have the Raiders who are in the options to move up. I mean, they can give away some stuff to go up and get Bryce Young with Josh McDaniels. Might be fun.
One of the places Anthony Richardson could end up.
Yeah, 100%, which would be like just a
Tim Tebow 2.0, just a better athlete.
Just makes no sense. The Panthers, they could be somebody who moves up. I think
Atlanta, if they don't get
it's
Lamar.
Gonna have. Yeah. Atlanta is so difficult because they just drafted Desmond Ridder, but if you're getting stuck with Desmond Ridder for your draft picks, then you're not doing the right process at all.
And it's not like he was a first round pick or anything. You can easily just move on and Good. We got a good backup in Desmond Ridder for cheap for 4 years.
Yeah, and like I think as far as the Bears wanting more than 3 first-round picks, like that's all bullshit to try and get as many picks as they can. I think they'd be best served kind of moving down and then moving down again if they can.
Are you
But
saying what you think they're gonna do, or what you think they should do?
what I think they should do is move down and move down again, because then that's their way that they get the most picks.
See, and I think that's something they will never do. I think you should cut fucking losses right now, trade Fields, pick a quarterback that
Yeah.
can throw the ball and move forward. But
Yeah, I just think with the guys who are coming out in the next class of QB after this, then you can afford to give Fields another.
until they
You
have
can
a Will Levis year, right? Like everybody's always like next year's class.
Yeah,
And
no,
then it's like
yeah. I don't know, but that like they can afford to give another year, especially if I'm the Bears. Any draft picks that I want, like the most draft picks I want, are in next year's draft, because then you know what you are with Justin Fields by then. So I want as many picks in next year's draft as I can get in 2024. That's as
I am
many.
so
That's where I want
confused
all
on
my picks.
everybody doesn't already. They're all like, we got to see what Justin Fields is. We've already seen it for 2 years. It got no better.
His wide receivers have no separation, and their offensive line in pass blocking is awful. Terrible.
He can't throw. It doesn't change the fact he doesn't even get close to his receivers.
The dude throws absolute lasers down the field if somebody's actually open. It's just nobody's open. I agree with you. Short routes, medium routes, awful. But you see so much in his deep routes that you're like,
And
damn.
you ever think maybe his receivers don't look good because he's garbage and doesn't help them? Because I watch a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL make receivers look a lot better than they are and go get them paid.
Yeah. I mean, with Justin Fields, and I love that we've
Kadarius Toney helps win a Super Bowl.
What?
Kadarius Toney, they said, was a bust.
Yeah.
Without him, Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl last year.
I did not ever think that Kadarius Toney was a bust. He was with Danny Dimes.
Yes, that's my point. Danny Dimes couldn't throw him the ball, so oh my God, he's a bust. Let's get him out of here. He goes to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes makes him a fucking superstar.
I saw enough of Kadarius Toney playing with Danny Dimes where I knew that Kadarius Toney was really, really good. Kadarius Toney was injured and was a locker room issue a lot of the time. He wanted to leave the Giants quite a lot.
Allen Lazard is Allen Lazard without Aaron Rodgers.
No, obviously not. But I'm not comparing Justin Fields to Aaron Rodgers. I just think the Bears are in like a decent situation if they hold on to Justin Fields.
Where do you rank him as NFL quarterback? Just a rough guess without listing it.
Just a rough guess, right? Yeah, okay. Entertainment value for a Bears organization whose fans hate him, top 10 for entertainment value. Actual efficiency in winning, top 20, top 35. Like
he was 35th. There's only 35th quarterbacks.
Throwing, but you can gain yards on the ground, especially when the guys are open.
By handing it to the running back,
the guys are open. Not in the Bears team because they can't run the fucking ball without Justin Fields anyway.
I think he can't throw, and everybody overlooks the fact that he can't fucking throw. You're shitting on Anthony Richardson, but
I know, and I knew that this is when I was going through my notes for Anthony Richardson, I was like, Jay's gonna fucking eat.
Well, no, that's his comparable is Justin Fields, but Justin Fields hasn't been around long enough to be a comparable.
Nah, Justin Fields is a better thrower than Anthony Richardson, but that is not comparing anything really. But yeah, I mean, Justin Fields does get himself in. Justin Fields in entertainment value, and there's enough there where you can see it's worth giving him a shot.
I pray the Bears keep Justin Fields. Do not get me wrong. I fucking pray they do. I pray Rodgers is gone for sure, and Justin Fields is there, and I pray that the Lions do not do something crazy and go get Lamar. That's what I pray.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are odds-on favorite to win the NFC North anyway. Have you seen?
So you got a team in the league in your division that was 13-4 with the second worst defense in the NFL. brings in Brian Flores. They only got to be this much better. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, I like being the underdog, dude. Give it to the Lions. Let's ride under the radar. I think those people are just straight up Kirk Cousins haters.
Yeah, which is weird because Jared Goff is there, and Jared Goff might be the most mid quarterback of all time.
And you know me, I like Cousins, but I'm still like draft Hayden Hooker. I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? I know we can get an athletic guy. Cousins only has like a few years left, even if you keep him. We'll see by the 15th if they extend him, because Cousins, everybody's like, what's going to happen with Cousins? Every time Cousins has ever signed a first deal or an extension with the Vikings, it's been between the 13th and 15th of March.
Yeah. It's all money. Like with Cousins, it's a money issue, not a talent issue. And it's the same. It's the same with Dak Prescott as well, apart from last season where he decided to fucking turn the ball over 16 times, which is just insane.
Yeah, it was. It's probably an anomaly, but if it's not, you got a problem.
If it's not, we better draft Hayden Hooker.
Jerry ain't drafted Hayden in the first round.
No, I think Hayden going in the first round is pretty ambitious. I think he'll be second.
23rd.
I think he's second round pick.
We don't have a second round pick. He's going 23rd. TJ Hawkinson was our second round pick. And I would argue people at like 10 or 11, the talent drops off to like a second round grade for most evaluators. So if you're getting a second round grade anyway, and you can get a 5th-year option on a quarterback, take it. Just fucking take him late first round, because you get that 5th-year option.
Yeah, if it's Hayden Hooker as well. By the time Hayden Hooker's 5th round option comes around, he'll be 30. Which is pretty mad.
29, because he just turned 25, so it won't be till the season's over. But yeah.
Right, okay. But yeah, anyway, he'll be knocking on the door of 30.
Well, that's what I was saying. So you get him for 5 years, plus you only have to sign him for one big contract, and then his career's over. You had 10, 12 years with the guy. If he's any good, thanks. Have a good day.
Yeah, and you can already tell he probably walks into any NFL locker room and becomes one of the best backups in the league, right? Just because of the guy like that he is, the journey he's been on, like that kind of thing. So we're Hayden Hooker fans on this podcast.
To sit behind a Kirk or a Dak or somebody else, I mean, a guy who acts like a professional. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're
100%.
Just get
we're Hayden Hooker fans on this podcast.
Huh?
The last time we got like this about a quarterback who wasn't considered like the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks by most people, it was Kellen Moore, and that didn't turn out really well. So
no, but he was not even the talent level. Like, everybody knows Kellen Moore was a project. Everybody knows that Davis Mills was a project. That's why they were Trask.
Kellen Mond.
Yeah. Trask was a project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think these guys are more top echelon draft picks. I think it's going to be crazy, though, because, again, everybody pushes quarterbacks up the draft board. I think you see 4 of these guys in the top 9.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is like the fact that the Bears can get further and further back, and still like people like, oh, they won't be able to get this defensive end there, or Jimmy Anderson, they won't be able to get him there and stuff.
I don't drop past 7 if I'm them. I refuse to go past 7 because of the talent in this draft. When you have that much of an issue, there's only a few like elite
blue chips. Yeah. There's only a few blue chips, right? But you look at it and you go like, what did they do with Khalil Mack for like so long? You know? Like, I know the Bears need to get, in my respect, the Bears need to get away from this idea that 1985 Bears, like, defense. It's just like, just fucking buy into some actual entertaining football for the first time since 1985, will you? That might be
with their defensive head coach.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the issue. Like, that's the problem. They fucked this entire rebuild as soon as they hired a defensive coach. And it's not even a shit on who's the defensive coach? Is it Eberflus up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a slight on him. Like, he's a good coach, but just
If you got
wrong
Justin
hire.
Fields, why the fuck do you not have an offensive-minded guy in there?
Wrong hire. Why have they not hired Greg Roman already? Like, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. But the whole draft process is going to be fucking crazy. I'm excited that the draft is coming. Man.
Yeah, man. It's always a fun time of year, draft. I love the amount of bullshit in the media. Like, it's so much fun, like, swaving through. It really brings my history degree into good use of looking through sources and actually being able to, like, try and tell the bullshit from the it's the only time I use my history degree anymore.
Well, you know how many times on these visits, these top 30 visits they get, the teams never bring in the guy they're targeting?
Yeah, exactly. They never ever. It's just so
Because
much
they
fun,
don't
like
want
waiting
you
for
to
the
even
bullshit.
think that they're targeting that guy because he wasn't in your
Yeah,
top 30. Yeah.
yeah. It's like the combine shit as well. Like the combine is a load of shit as well, especially with like quarterbacks and why are offensive linemen running 40-yard dashes?
The
That makes no
only thing
sense.
that's relevant is the medicals and the
Yeah,
interviews at
the
the
interviews.
combine.
Yeah, 100%. Joel Klatt said the same thing. He was like, the interviews, which is something that we don't get to see, is the most important bit. And it's like,
And then the medicals, because you get all the
yeah,
guys, all the teams, one place, one MRI, one X-ray, one blood test instead of 32 individual ones.
it's like helpful when it comes to like finding a hidden gem at wide receiver or like cornerback or somewhere
And,
there, like one of those positions where physical traits are really, really important. It
and
is
you're only
important to
with
have.
the 40-yard dash, it's almost like you're just verifying what you already know. That dude's fast as fuck when I watch the tape. Oh, he runs a 4.3. Okay, that dude is fast as fuck.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
like
like,
all you're doing is verifying what you already know.
yeah, 100%. Like it's like going through and doing all of that, but it's getting to meet the guys and stuff like that. But for like a wide receiver where you haven't had as much tape, like for example, like that combine is really helpful
It
to
is
them.
where all the tampering happens.
Yeah, yeah,
All the
and that
agents, the coaches, the GMs,
yeah,
they're working out. That's why as soon as free agency opens, deals get done like this. It's not
yeah.
because they're master negotiators, because they work that shit out at the combine.
And so that Waffle House that's open for 24 hours, that they get all of that work done, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that it's an amazing, like it is an amazing thing. If you can't tell, I've become a really massive fan of Joel Klatt for
I like Joe
recently.
Platt. I just refuse to watch him on Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, he's got his own podcast and stuff
Right.
now. So like, yeah, it's good. I quite like him on Cowherd. I like watching him putting Cowherd in his place about college football. That's enjoyable.
Cowherd just has so much dumb shit I can't take him.
But Klatt comes out and says that why are we more accepting of guys missing senior bowls than we are of them missing the combine? Like, why don't more guys miss the combine than they miss like senior bowls and stuff like that? Because what you're actually evaluating is their ability to play football. I know guys get injured. Like what you were saying is guys get injured at the combine. So why are we doing it when they could just play at the senior bowl? But it's like, I imagine more guys are going to get injured playing actual football than they are going to be running at the combine. But anyway, I liked where the point was coming from.
Hey, I just want to show you something before we get out of here.
Yeah, knew it. Need new
Completion
graphic.
percentage, 35th. Touchdown interception, 33rd. Passer rating, 33rd. Last wins losses. Just saying.
Rushing
Woke up
yards
this
for a
year.
quarterback, second all time. I know.
It's good. It's good. Keep running the ball. And then we can blow them the fuck up.
All right.
At some point, you got to turn into a passer. And
Yeah.
I just don't think he has it in him.
Yeah. When they're coming from behind, like when your team's as bad as the Bears, you're going to come from behind a lot. So running isn't what you want to be doing from there. But the guy's fucking electric. It's so much fun to watch.
I always say he's going to be exciting as fuck to watch, and it's not going to equal wins.
Yeah, that's okay for the Bears right now. The Bears are shit.
I love it.
The Bears are garbage.
Try that shit once Brian Flores gets the guys he wants in there. Try that shit then. Zero blitz with a stop the run while attacking the quarterback mentality.
Well, when they get a wide receiver that can actually get open, that'd be great.
Well, maybe that's because
We'll
they got
see.
a quarterback who can't throw it to him.
We know he can throw to open guys. We saw it at Ohio State.
Open in the NFL is this month. Like, I'm starting to argue maybe the problem is the quarterback, not the receivers. Just saying.
No, we need guys that can get Ohio State open. Did I not make that? Did I not make that clear?
I will say that the Jets didn't look like they had much of a receiving core with Wilson, and then White comes in, and you're like, holy fuck, these guys can ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you put Garrett Wilson on the Chicago Bears, though, he'd be the best wide receiver there. If you put Elijah Moore, who wasn't playing, he'd be the best wide receiver there.
And they have shit stats, and people would say they're not that good because the guy throwing them the ball.
Like,
Zach
yes, I get where you're coming from.
Better than Justin Fields.
I get where you're coming from, but we've seen that Chase Claypool is not as good as Garrett Wilson either.
Chase Claypool was a lot better in Pittsburgh than he was in Chicago.
Chase Claypool was a lot better in Pittsburgh for one season than he was in Chicago, but that was when he was getting the ball thrown to him by Ben Roethlisberger, even though Ben Roethlisberger's arm was nearly falling off. But yeah.
Chase Claypool's stats in Pittsburgh were better than they ever were in Chicago.
This is a fight that we're going to have all the time.
Well, I don't understand how you keep fighting when everybody knows you're wrong, but that's,
Well,
and sometimes you
stand for something.
Cut your losses, Maddie, and like go.
No. I got to stand for something. I gave up on Sam Darnold. This is where
I'm going deep diving into receivers who were shit with a shit quarterback and then got better. So I can just pepper you with it all season long.
Cool. I'm going to go look for open like percentages of open in the league in terms of like separation yardage is kind of what I'm going for. I'm going to try and find that stat. I know it exists somewhere.
Well, I bet you when I get done, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, all of those guys who have been proven to be better quarterbacks than Justin Fields. And I don't know what I got to say about Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson at this point. So.
Yeah, all right.
At some point, you got to throw the ball. That's my only argument.
Yeah.
All right. This is a never-ending debate until Justin Fields, they're like, get this guy
out the league.
You ever think do you ever think it's too late to convert?
What do you mean? Yeah, always.
Like, let's say he's 4 years into the league and he's just not doing good at all. And
if Justin Fields makes it fucking 4 years into the league, I imagine he's doing all right. That's why I think the Bears are.
He's a first-round pick that they guarantee money to. He's making it 4 years. Like,
oh right, okay.
So I'm like, so they're coming out that rookie contract. Everybody's like, this guy's garbage. I'm not saying this will happen. Do you think that's too late for a guy to go, fuck it, I'll play tight end?
If he's throwing, right. One, no. Like, if that's his only option to stay into the league, then that's where he'll go, right?
Tim Tebow refused.
Well, but until he didn't refuse and then came back and.
Well, he refused to play tight end. Even when he went to the Jets, he was supposed to have a shot at being quarterback. So he had a chance to stay in the league as a tight end, and he said no.
Yeah, but then he came back to the Jaguars and played tight end after trying baseball, right?
Like fucking 4 years later. Like, that's a little different. I think he might have made a good tight end if he did it right away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know with Justin Fields. Where you were going with that is if Justin Fields is still having these shitty throwing percentages, will you convert in terms of me? It's like, yeah, of course. I'm a.
Oh no, I just meant like, is there a point when you're that bad, but at one position, but you're a supreme athlete? Do you just go, fuck it, I'm going to do something different?
Yeah, 100. If you get to stay in the league, Tim Tebow had another sport to go to, which is a bit different, isn't it? It's like Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray gets injured again, why do you not go play baseball? I don't understand it.
And people quit comparing Kyler and Bryce Young. There's two completely different styles of quarterback.
They're just short. That is not.
They're the same. They have the same measurables. That's it.
Yeah, they're the same height. That's the difference.
Kyler Murray's hands a little smaller than Bryce Young's. Their weight was like 3 pounds difference, but like, they're just stop. Calm,
breathe, take a breather. But like, Yeah, I think Justin Fields doesn't have another sport to go to, so he would have to do that right. But yeah, I I still think he'll be fine. But I just it all depends on how well the Bears take this offseason, and the Bears could
So
have a crazy offseason.
I don't want to drag this out, but I have to ask. Like, do you think it is possible to win a Super Bowl with Justin Fields?
I think given the right people around him, you would be able to get to a Super Bowl with the right people around. Like it's the same. Like it's. It,
Okay. Okay.
I am not.
Danny Dimes is a better quarterback. Do you think you can go to the Super Bowl with Danny Dimes?
Do you know what? If you put Danny Dimes in the 49ers offense, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to make it to the Super Bowl.
Because he's kind of shaky at throwing the ball. Like that's that's just like always my thing with a quarterback. But
Yeah,
I would take Danny Dimes over Justin Fields in a heartbeat, and I don't want Danny Dimes.
I think if Justin Fields got drafted by the 49ers, then the 49ers would have made it to another Super Bowl with Justin Fields in it.
I think I'd
That's
still
a-
rather have Trey Lance's potential than the already what I've seen from Justin Fields, but that's just me. Like
I think
already
that's
know
more.
everybody can act like they don't, but we all already know what Justin Fields is. We know it.
Has an absolute cannon of an arm for a deep ball, which can be coached to throw short and medium routes.
You can't teach accuracy. You're either accurate or you're not. You just can't teach it.
Yeah,
But
it's all right. He runs the ball fast enough to get to where the short route is anyway, so
somebody's
he
gonna
only
learn
needs to
that.
learn the mid route.
Somebody's going to learn that sad fact when they draft Anthony Richardson, and I sure hope it's not my team.
Yeah, well, if you guys draft him, it's not the worst thing in the world. At least you guys have somebody who can actually play quarterback. But it's like I saw somebody who there was a couple of there was one draft where he went to the Colts. There was another one where he ends up in Atlanta and
I
stuff like
would
that. And
be
it's like
so sick and sad if I fucking end up with Anthony Richardson on my team. Like, if you pass up like Joey Porter Jr. for Anthony Richardson, I'll fucking choke you. Like, I'm driving to Kwesi's house and we're having a face-to-face. Like, fuck.
yeah, I'll be happy because that means we get Joey Porter Jr. So that's that's fine. We draft kind of close together, don't we? Got to.
Yeah, what is the Cowboys draft pick?
Not sure. Let me check. The Cowboys have...
You pick right after us.
26, yeah. Which turns into 25th because of the Dolphins, right?
Maybe, depending what site you're looking at. Some of them have it adjusted. Some of them don't.
Cool. Well, anyway, it's either 26 or 25th. So
yeah,
it's pretty much straight after. We always end up picking quite close together. Quite similar teams.
Oh, yeah, it would make sense because of you guys winning the playoff game. Well, it goes like that. Like the first round, it's the highest. Everybody gets knocked out. The lowest record to the highest, and the second round of knockouts, and then
we wet it in the playoff game. Like because we fucked it in the playoff game, we get to pick one pick ahead of you,
or behind.
Behind. Yeah, sorry, behind.
All right, you guys. Well, we've kept you here over an hour. We'll dip now, but thank you for watching. We'll be back with more. And if you're not doing nothing, well, even if you are doing something tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern on overtimehustling.com on Winging It, I'll be getting roasted and Maddie will be there too.
I will. I have to write a roast. That'll be fun.
You guys know what Maddie would do if England ever won the World Cup? He'd set down the controller and go to bed.
Yep. Good one.
All right, guys. We're way nastier on Winging It.
Yep.
We're a little harder. But I know for me, I'm going to be a little bit nicer to the Brit since it's his first time.
Yeah, I mean, you do need to tell everybody that I'm Welsh, right? Not English, which is going to be kind of important. But it might be funnier to actually just keep it as the
No, but
English.
you're English too because you live in England. You were born in England, right? So
No, I was born in Wales.
okay, well, you grew up in England. Fucking English too. Fucking nobody's trying to hear
It's
that.
hot. It's fine. It's fine.
It's
fine.
like when people from fucking Central America always say, "Oh, Canada, U.S., same thing."
Oh, right. Okay. Well, pretty similar.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't have a problem with the comparison. I always feel like we're weird cousins or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We're the same country. We're keeping these people here for ages. There's people actually watching this.
all right, have a good one. Deuces.
Cheerio.